Okay, we're off to Paz now. Costa Rica. And then I think we'll skip to herself, because there's almost stuff, man. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. And I'm a busy man.
Costa Rica means rich coast in Spanish.
Is it true that Columbus was the one who came up with the name?
Your guess is as good as mine. But it is true that Columbus landed his ships near Limon back in the age of exploration. He wrote in his diary that when he landed, the indigenous showered him with gifts of gold, hence the name. It sounds a little strange to me. There is no way they could find that much gold in Costa Rica.
Columbus originally set sail in search of the legendary land of gold. Maybe he was just nuts about the stuff.
Costa Rica is rich enough without it. Look at the forests and the animals and the peace-loving people. That is what I want to protect.
I know how you feel.
I know how you feel. Huh.
Democracy took root in Costa Rica before anywhere else in Central America. Sure, we had coup and dictators and all, but never a total meltdown. That is, until 26 years ago.
The Civil War. Yeah. I understand you lost your grandparents.
It started with a dispute over alleged fraud in the presidential election. What I do not understand is why friend turned against friend, when they could have talked it out instead.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Even today, some buildings still have bullet holes from the Civil War. A quarter century later, and it is a tragedy we Ticos cannot forget, must not forget. It was the year after the Civil War that the army was constitutionally abolished. A new president was elected this year, President Otaber. He seems to be distancing himself from the United States. He has limited the privileges granted to American banks, lifted the sanctions on Cuba. Our last president was so pro-U.S., people suspected he was in bed with the CIA.
You think the CIA is doing this because it feels threatened by the president's shift in policy?
It is possible, but would they really bring in such a huge army just because of that?
Part of our job is finding out.
Exactly. Thanks, Snake. Peace.
Peace.
So, are you a student at the University for Peace, Paz?
No, I am still in high school, but Professor Galvez lets me visit his office and study with him every now and then. International law, security, conflict resolution, human rights. We study all these subjects and then use them to build the foundations of peace.
Yeah, I get it. I just never heard the UN had a University for Peace before.
Oh, that. Well, to be precise, it is still being set up. They have started conducting research, but the UN has not passed the necessary resolution yet. Professor Galvez couldn't wait that long.
Oh, right.
Costa Rica abolished its army and has also hosted the Central American Court of Justice. It is the perfect place to build a university like ours. Don't you think?
Oh, alright. Oops.
Professor Galvez was a KGB spy? I thought he helped me out of genuine concern for Costa Rica's future.
You didn't know.
How could I? Believe me, Snake, he introduced himself as a peace researcher at the university. He had an office and credentials and everything.
They're masters at creating cover personas. They think of everything. ID papers, jobs, sometimes even families. Don't feel bad you didn't see through it.
But you did?
From the first time we met.
I wish you had told me.
Sorry. I didn't know if it'd be right. You might have gotten mixed up in things you shouldn't.
That is impressive, though. Sizing him up at a single glance.
He reeked.
Reeked?
He had this unmistakable air about him. The air of someone who's been given a mission and will see it through no matter what. Like me. I could just smell it.
That is amazing, Snake.
I'm just kidding. It was his prosthetic hand. Why Why would a professor from a peace university need a tool for assassination?
Huh. Man, it's kind of hard to listen to Paz just butter Snake up. But she was a spy all along.
That coffee you guys brought us is pretty damn good.
Isn't it? Costa Rican coffee is the best. The Central Basin has all the right conditions for growing coffee. It is high in elevation, with steady temperatures and well-drained volcanic soils.
The professor certainly seems attached to it.
The coffee we drank on the boat coming over was awful. It put him in such a terrible mood.
Well, how come I never hear about Costa Rican coffee then?
Because it gets bought up by wholesalers and mixed with beans from other countries. It is really a shame. Such wonderful beans, and nobody knows they are from Costa Rica.
Huh. They should launch an ad campaign or something.
Right. I hope one day people will recognize Costa Rican coffee for what it is.
I'm with you there. Are there any large-scale ruins in Costa Rica, Paz?
There is a place east of Cartago called Guajabu. They have ruins there, but they're not especially big.
Not the place I'm thinking of. Any others?
Well, if you go a little way across the border into Nicaragua, there is a place called La Fortaleza de la Inmaculada Concepción. That is the only famous one.
Then what were those ruins I saw from up on Irasu?
There are a lot of things we still do not know about Costa Rica's ancient civilizations. There are giant stone spheres throughout the country. What they were used for is still a mystery.
I've heard about those spheres. Spooky. Well, that's Paz's take on Costa Rica.